The city at night is a masterpiece of light and shadow, but it holds secrets that no one would dare to voice aloud. Beneath the gleaming glass towers of commerce lies an architecture of survival and hidden allegiances. This is the starting point of our descent into the secret hierarchy of the Syndicate, a global hitman organization that functions with the cold efficiency of a state entity, but without any of the legal accountability. Every operation begins at the lowest level, among those who occupy the margins of society. We call them the Informants. These are not elite operatives in custom suits. They are waiters in high-end restaurants, valets at exclusive clubs, and forgotten clerks in municipal buildings. They gather the tiny crumbs of information that others overlook or ignore. Watch as an envelope of non-sequential bills passes hands in a rain-blurred alleyway behind a nameless bistro. Within that envelope lies the key to an impossible mission. Maybe a security rotation schedule, the private names of bodyguards, or the exact frequency of an infrared alarm. The informant provides the raw data, the foundation, and the opportunity. They are the initial nervous system that alerts the predator to the presence of the prey. They never pull the triggers themselves. They simply provide the logistical reasons for why those triggers are eventually pulled. Their world is one of constant paranoia and whispered promises, where a single slip of the tongue could lead to a permanent silence in a shallow grave. Yet, through their tireless scraping for secrets, the organizational dossiers begin to fill. The path is set for the hunters to begin their approach. In the hierarchy of death, the lowliest member is often the most vital architect of ruin, providing the necessary context for the entire mechanism to start spinning into motion. Once the informants provide the breadcrumbs, the organization requires absolute certainty. This is where the trackers come into play. They are the invisible bridge between raw information and lethal execution. While the informants trade in gossip and visual confirmation, the trackers exist entirely within the digital ether and the world of high-end surveillance. Imagine a dark room glowing with dozens of monitors, showing satellite feeds, social media activity, and decrypted cellular data. These specialists are digital hunters who can reconstruct a target's life from a few data points. They track spending habits, facial recognition hits through citywide cameras, and hidden geolocation signatures. To a tracker, a human being is simply a variable moving through a geometric space. They utilize advanced algorithmic maps and proprietary software to predict exactly where a target will be hours before they even arrive. There is no such thing as hiding from the syndicate when a tracker is assigned to the file. They can penetrate encrypted VPNs and bypass biometric firewalls just to locate a single hotel room in a city of millions. In this section, we see the screens flicker with orange and blue vectors, pinpointing a blinking cursor over a safe house. The trackers provide the lock, and the contract agent provides the key. Their role is to ensure that when the organization moves, they move against a target that is trapped and pinned down by an inescapable wall of surveillance. This transition from ground-level whispers to orbital surveillance represents the syndicate's immense reach and terrifying technical advantage, making the world feel claustrophobic and tiny for anyone placed on the hit list. Information has now evolved into tactical intelligence, ready to be used. Information is useful, but ultimately the syndicate exists for a single reason: termination. At the third level of the hierarchy, we meet the contract agents. These are the front-line soldiers of the organization, the first true hitmen who handle the physical delivery of death. They are the blades of the syndicate, designed for utility and reliability. Contract agents are often trained to blend into any urban environment, behaving like ghosts in plain sight. They are masters of basic stealth and efficient combat, trained to move through crowded streets or silent subways without drawing a single eye. Watch a contract agent as he walks down a busy corridor wearing a charcoal suit that looks completely unremarkable. Behind that facade is a calculated mind looking for exits, blind spots, and environmental hazards. They do not use flashy gadgets, they use patience and timing. This level represents the standard tier of the organization, where the bulk of the contracts are carried out with workmanlike precision. A suppressed pistol, a hidden wire, or a sudden push from a rooftop are the tools of their trade. While they lack the specific genius of the specialists, their sheer volume and dependability make them the backbone of the entire organizational machine. Each contract agent operates with a cold detachment, realizing they are just a single piece on a much larger board. They take the data from the trackers and turn it into a physical event, ensuring that the client gets exactly what they paid for. They move through the city shadows like a scalpel, cutting away the targets that the syndicate deems unnecessary to their global agenda. When the job is done, they vanish into the crowd, leaving nothing behind but an unanswered question and a cold body in the wake of their passing.
Sometimes a contract is too complex for a standard operative. Sometimes a target resides within a mountain fortress or sits behind 5 layers of bulletproof glass. When the problem requires more than a simple shadow, it is time to deploy the specialists. These elite operatives are the scholars of destruction, each mastering a specific craft of carnage. You have the snipers, who can wait for 3 days in a freezing nest just to wait for a 3-second window from 2 miles away. You have the infiltrators, who can pick any lock and hack any keypad with mechanical artistry. You have the demolition experts, who see every building as a structural puzzle waiting to be solved with a few ounces of strategically placed plastique. The atmosphere in this tier is one of heavy tactical preparation and professional intensity. We see them in subterranean workshops, assembling custom high-velocity rifles with telescopic lenses and cleaning the fine internal components of electronic disruptors. The specialist does not just commit a crime, they create a tactical masterpiece. They are the most technically skilled individuals in the entire hierarchy, often recruited from the world's most secretive military divisions. Their missions are rare, but their success rate is absolute. When a specialist is active, the organization isn't just seeking a result, they are sending a message of unstoppable power. Each piece of equipment is tested to the limit of human performance, and every motion is measured down to the millimeter. There is no room for error when a specialist handles the work, because they are the final answer to an impossible problem. They turn the environment itself against the target, ensuring that neither concrete walls nor metal doors can protect those who have been marked for deletion by the invisible leadership.
Rising even further, we reach the level of myths and nightmares, the elite hitman. These individuals are the legends that even other professionals fear to mention by name. They are not merely employees, they are the crowning jewels of the syndicate, known only to the highest handlers and the victims they select. Elite hitmen operate at a level of calm that is fundamentally unnatural. While a specialist relies on gadgets, an elite hitman relies on a terrifyingly sharp intuition and a global presence that makes them appear to be everywhere at once. Think of a high-security ballroom guarded by dozens of state actors. An elite hitman does not climb a wall, he walks through the front door, because he is the person that no one thinks to question. They represent the peak of lethality, capable of neutralizing a target with a whispered word or a perfectly timed accident that leaves no forensic trace. The world is their stage, and they are the directors of the final scene. These operatives take only the most high-profile contracts, where the death of the target will change the course of geopolitics or multi-billion-dollar corporations. Their sequences are animated with slow, rhythmic movements that convey an aura of absolute control. They exhibit no stress, no rush, and no emotion, often working entirely alone without external support. They utilize the momentum of the environment to achieve their goals. When an elite hitman strikes, the entire industry takes notice because their work represents a standard of excellence that is nearly supernatural. They are the true ghosts in the machine, often spending months living as a simple neighbor or a boring coworker until the moment of the strike arrives. In the shadow of the hierarchy, they are the undisputed kings of the field, executing with a precision that defies the boundaries of physics and human endurance.
Every army requires a general, and every syndicate requires coordination. We now move away from the field and into the heart of the machine, to the handlers. These individuals are the voices in the ear, the cold, distant architects of operational logistics. The handler is a shadowy figure, often seen sitting in a dimly lit office, surrounded by encrypted telephone lines and biometric terminals. They are the only point of contact for the field agents. A handler translates the will of the organization into clear, executable instructions. They are masters of strategy, moving operatives across continents like pieces on a chessboard. If an elite hitman is the bullet, the handler is the hand that aims the rifle. They manage the cleanup crews, they bribe the local authorities, they scrub the digital footprints, and they ensure that the money flows through offshore accounts to keep the system fueled. This is the bureaucracy of murder. The handler's desk is cluttered with red files, classified documents, and empty espresso cups, suggesting long nights of data management. They never see the blood, but they hear every breath over the communications relay. They are the managers of consequence, making sure that the organization stays invisible to the public eye. Their decisions determine who lives and who dies, based entirely on numbers and organizational requirements. A handler's primary loyalty is to the efficiency of the syndicate, and they would sacrifice any lower-level agent without hesitation if the survival of the structure depended on it. They represent the administrative ice that sits atop the boiling ocean of professional killing. Without the handlers, the syndicate would be a collection of chaotic individuals. With them, it is a cohesive and invincible engine of destruction that spans the entire globe, from New York to Singapore and beyond. At the very top of this grim pyramid, residing in the deepest layer of the shadows, is the final figure, the director. No one knows if this is one person or a council of shadows, but everyone knows they are the undisputed sovereign of the underground. The director operates from an inner sanctum that exists outside any national jurisdiction. Think of an office on a private island or a sprawling bunker miles below the earth where global maps flicker on massive LED screens. The director does not concern themselves with the details of individual lives. They look at the world as a system of risks and assets. Their goals are grand. They topple regimes, they install puppet leaders, and they curate the flows of global trade through targeted interventions. In the animation, we only see the director as a sharp silhouette against a vast window overlooking a midnight city or a turbulent ocean. There is a sense of cosmic distance between this rank and the informant in the alleyway. To the director, people are nothing more than variables on a spreadsheet. They are the philosophers of power, who believe that the order maintained by the syndicate is more stable than the chaos of democracy. When they sign a command, a world changes. This is the end of our journey through the hierarchy.
We have seen the eyes on the street, the dogs of tracking, the blades of the field, the geniuses of destruction, the elite ghosts, the logistical masters, and now the mind that controls them all. The syndicate is not just a business, it is a parallel reality that mirrors our own, feeding on our secrets and thriving in our silence. As the animation fades to black, the final dossier closes and a cold terminal logs out, leaving us in the darkness once more. The hierarchy remains hidden, waiting for the next order from the desk of the person who owns the shadows.